NoDQ.com.
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 NoDQ.com. NoDQ.com.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 953 of NoDQ Video here on NoDQ.com. Thank you guys for watching the full-length video here on the website. I do appreciate all the support from you guys. Feel free to leave a comment or a question at the bottom of this page, the NoDQ Discuss Comments section. With that being said, let's get down to your questions today. First question comes from Matt Frost. If the WWE were to bring The Rock back for another match in, could you see him facing Roman Reigns? That is an interesting question. When I look at potential opponents for The Rock, if The Rock was to come back for one more match, who would be the ideal opponent? You would think The Rock would go up against the biggest star of this current era. Yeah, you could do The Rock versus Batista, bring back Batista for one more match, but I think most fans would like to see The Rock against the biggest star in WWE right now, and love him or hate him, that guy is Roman Reigns. You could do The Rock versus Kevin Owens, you could do The Rock versus AJ Styles, but I think storyline-wise, it would be the most interesting to do Roman Reigns versus The Rock. The fact that they have the family history together. The Rock was there at the Royal Rumble raising Roman's hand. They're Samoan. I just think that that dynamic would be the most compelling for WrestleMania. And like I said, Roman Reigns, he's not the bad guy. He's not the good guy. He's the guy. He's the guy that WWE is pushing to the top. I think that that match would have the most heat, and it would be an entertaining match. I think it would definitely be the match to do if The Rock is going to come back for one more match. Now, will The Rock be back? That remains to be seen. It's really up in the air right now because The Rock has a very busy schedule. He's one of the most successful actors in Hollywood. I believe the highest grossing in 2016. He's got a lot on his plate. But if there's the opportunity for The Rock to come back and the timing is right, I could definitely see The Rock doing one more match. And if he's going to come back one more match, you either go big or you go home. And I say you do Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania if The Rock is coming back. This one comes from, not going to say that name, Fuvana37. Is Roman Reigns going to have to die in the ring to get anyone to care about him at all? WWE can do whatever they want with Roman Reigns. I think unless they actually change the character into something different, I think fans are going to continue to react to him in a negative way. Maybe with strong enough booking, WWE can make Roman Reigns sympathetic, but my feeling is the damage has already been done and the fans will continue to resent Reigns for the rest of his career. At least there will always be this portion of the audience that does not approve of the Roman Reigns character being booked like Superman. Maybe WWE's attitude is by having Reigns look weak in some ways, having him lose to Braun Strowman and having him get beat up. Maybe the fans will be more sympathetic, but then again, those fans, they're the smart fans. They're the ones that know that in the end, Reigns is going to look stronger than ever. When this is all said and done, it's going to be Reigns on top for many years to come. These fans see the future. They know what WWE has planned long-term for Reigns. Reigns is going to be the guy the company is built around, love him or hate him. But if those fans are so smart, why are they still watching? Because they're passionate about the product. They want to see the product get better. They know WWE is capable of doing better, and there's a lot of frustration, but people continue to support it. When I look at the landscape of WWE over the next several years, I think it's going to be more of the same. Business as usual, and I doubt anything's going to change. So, is there anything that can be done? to get fans cheering Roman Reigns? Yes, but I doubt WWE is going to do what it takes to get the fans that are booing him right now to all of a sudden cheer for him. WWE feels they have something working right now, and they're going to keep doing it. This one comes from Ash. How long before we see Nakamura with the WWE title, and would you have him hold it for as long as AJ? Interesting question. One would think that at some point, Shinsuke Nakamura will be the WWE champion. They are building him up as one of the star attractions of SmackDown right now. Will his momentum continue? That is still a question mark. There are some fans, some people speculating that WWE might screw up Nakamura. Already they have him with this new nickname, The Artist, which I do not think is going to make a difference one way or another, but will it hurt him in the long run? That remains to be seen. Will WWE take it to the next level? Will they do something really different with his character and try to change things up to the point where fans start to lose interest in him? It's hard to say right now, but if Nakamura can keep the momentum going that he's had in WWE and NXT and the momentum he had in Japan, then I would say it's inevitable that he ends up as WWE champion. The cream always rises to the top. And if he is able to sustain the momentum and the company doesn't ruin him completely with the booking, then yeah, I'll say that he will be WWE champion maybe a year, maybe 2 years down the line. I mean, he's not getting any younger. He's already getting up there years-wise, so I would think if you're going to do it, you pull the trigger relatively soon. So I would say if it does happen, it'll happen in the next year or two. This one comes from Andre. Who do you see winning the Money in the Bank this year? My guess would be either Kevin Owens or maybe Baron Corbin. Both of those are great choices. I still think it's a bit early to make a really solid prediction on this, but looking at the current landscape of SmackDown, I think you have to go with a heel. Traditionally, I prefer a heel winning Money in the Bank just because of the nature of it, with the guy cashing it in when the champion is not in the right position or whatever the circumstances are. The guy's already wrestled a match, you know, there's all sorts of different things. Basically, the Money in the Bank winner is taking advantage of the champion by cashing it in at a convenient time for the holder. So I like the idea of a heel winning it. The only time I thought it was good that a babyface won it was when RVD won it in 2006, because RVD gave John Cena advance notice it was going to be an ECW One Night Stand, but still, that's giving RVD the advantage. So overall, I prefer a heel winning. Kevin Owens is a great choice. Baron Corbin, as high as the company is on him, you know, I think it's probably going to be Owens, but Baron Corbin, I could definitely see winning it. I think one of those two guys is a very safe prediction. AJ Styles on the face side, I think, is your biggest choice, but at this point, we still don't know who's in the match, so it's really hard to say right now. But looking long-term, Owens or Corbin, I think, are your two best choices. This one comes from Breaking Good. What did you think of the Cesaro and Sheamus promo on Raw? I personally thought it was great, especially Cesaro. I thought it was a great promo. I did mention this briefly on the last video. I talked about Sheamus and Cesaro turning heel, and I'm enjoying the whole feud between the Hardys and Cesaro and Sheamus, Cesaro as I like to call them. I thought it was a very good promo. I think Cesaro held his own. You know, he's not exactly known for his promos, but when you can play off of real life and say, hey, you know, we were going to be the top guys, but then the Hardys came in and took our spots, you know, it has a little bit of truth to it. You know, the Hardys are coming in, taking the spotlight. So you can work that into the storyline and give it a little bit more reality. And I think that that definitely helps when you can play off of real life and make it part of the storyline. I think it's great, you know, I think so far it's working out very well for them, and I think it's going to give their team some longevity in WWE, and it freshens them up, you know. I think that it's cool to see the evolution with their character going from hating each other and then being you know, the odd couple. One guy's the good guy, one guy's the bad guy, and then Cesaro and Sheamus became friends, good guys, and now they're heels. So I like how it's changing and evolving, and you know, that makes it interesting. It keeps it fresh. I'm definitely a fan of what they're doing so far. This one comes from Converse Craig. Hey Aaron, do you think that the House of Horrors match was a bad move in Bray Wyatt's career even though he won? Hopefully fans will forget about it, but unfortunately, I think that House of Horrors match has a good chance of winning the most disliked match of the year on NoDQ.com's year-end awards, and the WrestleMania match was pretty awful as well. I'm hopeful that it will not hurt Bray's career, but the thing about Bray Wyatt is most of the time he comes out, he cuts these promos, and then he loses. Now, he did win at House of Horrors, but at the same time, you had all the outside interference, and, you know, he basically just had the win handed to him by Jinder Mahal. Bray Wyatt needs some credibility. He actually needs to win some major high-profile matches clean. I think that would really help his career. And until that happens, I think it's going to be hard to really take him seriously because of his track record, losing so many matches or winning matches by complete fluke in stupid ways. So, yeah, I think the House of Horrors match definitely hurt him. Can he rebound? I believe he can, but bad booking is not going to do him any favors. It hasn't been doing him any favors, and it will continue to not do him favors unless WWE gives him some more credibility and allows him to win some significant matches clean in the middle. This one comes from Gino. Do you think the network is negatively affecting the product? Great Balls of Fire is stupid, but for $10, why not? I think the biggest problem with the network is the fact that WWE as a product is oversaturated. There's just too much content for the average person to keep up with. And the other thing is now, I think it allows WWE to be lazier with the writing and not have to really be creative and hook people on a storyline. In the old days, you had to get the fans to spend $50 on a pay-per-view. Now, it's all part of the network. It doesn't matter. You can throw Jinder Mahal on a pay-per-view. People are not spending $50 on it. They're spending $9.99, which most of the fans are going to keep spending anyways because it's a great bargain. $9.99 a month for the pay-per-views and all the content. It's a great deal. And any fan that has the money to pay for it, they're going to pay for it. It's a great deal. So WWE's attitude is, we already got their money, we can do whatever we want. And if they want to push Jinder Mahal because their agenda is to increase business in India, that's what they're going to do. If they're going to push Breezango because they want morale to be good and they want everyone to be happy, that's what they're going to do. And it is what it is. And I guess we just go along for the ride and enjoy it or not enjoy it, but it's there, it's $10 a month, and I do feel it's helped in some ways. It's made WWE better in some ways. You know, the technology is cool. It's awesome to be able to watch some of the old shows, and it's fun to be able to watch and be able to pause and go back and do all this stuff. The on-demand stuff is really cool, but at the same time, it's also been a negative. So it's a double-edged sword. This one comes from DJ Whitty. Ayo Aaron, how do you think Booker T is doing on commentary so far? Otunga can stay gone in my opinion. I think Booker T's been fine, but he's not blowing me away or anything. I think his commentary is just okay. I'd rather they just stick with Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Just have a two-man team. Get rid of Byron Saxton. No need for David Otunga. Wait, Saxton's on SmackDown. I'm getting confused now. You know, the whole thing. I mean, they're all interchangeable. That's the problem. I might get some negative feedback for this, but even Corey Graves at times, I feel like he's just there. You know, he does have some good lines every now and then, but honestly, if you have Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, Otunga, Tom Phillips, you put all these guys and you mix up their voices, I would have a hard time distinguishing whose voice is whose. Even Corey Graves, because I think they're all so generic. they're following the orders from backstage, and they're just doing what they're told. They're very robotic in nature. I think Corey Graves is decent, but I feel that all of them lack the personality and lack the overall passion. Somebody like Mauro Ranallo, when he does commentary, he just goes all out, and he pours his heart out into it, and he goes what his gut feeling is rather than just going with what he's told to say, doing what the company wants him to do. Ranallo just goes by instinct, and that's why he's such a great commentator. But part of the problem with Ranallo and WWE was they were trying to mold him into the announcer they wanted him to be, and his commentary wasn't quite as good as time went on. You look at the beginning of Ranallo's run in WWE, and then at the end, you can notice some differences with his commentary. So yeah, Booker T, to answer your question, yeah, I'd like to see Otunga gone. Booker T's fine, but I wouldn't say he's great or anything. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. Why is WWE paying the Drifter guy to walk around backstage? Once he debuts, will he get pushed? Will he resonate? I think, honestly, they have no idea what to do with the guy. I think they just called him up because he's been in NXT for a while and they want to give everyone a shot. So they're just going with this for now until they figure out something to do with him. My gut feeling is he's not going to be a big star in WWE. He will probably wrestle a couple times and then fizzle out. Maybe they'll come up with something. Maybe after doing this for several weeks, somebody will have a great idea for him. But my feeling is he's probably not going to go past being in the opening match on the main roster. He's basically just going to be enhancement talent to put over other people. And, right now they're just throwing him out there. I thought it was pretty entertaining, though. The stuff with him playing the guitar and Dean Ambrose saying, any Pearl Jam. I actually thought that was funny. So, they might have some longevity with this concept for a couple weeks, but, I think it'll get old after about a month or so. And then what do you do with the guy? That I don't know. This one comes from Beast Slayer. I had to censor your username because you have a certain F word there, and YouTube is very strict with their policies. They might even have software now that can detect text profanity in videos, so I gotta be careful here. Why does Seth Rollins' promos make him seem like such a geek? Look at his Raw promo. It's just part of the overall problem with Seth Rollins. They've really botched his babyface run, and similar to the announcers, Rollins is given a script and he's told what to say, and it's very robotic and it's not organic. It doesn't come from the heart, and that's part of the problem. When these guys have promos that are such heavily scripted in nature, it's hard for them to really make an emotional connection with the fans. Rollins is over because he's an amazing athlete, but as far as the personality goes and the charisma, he's still got some work to do. And, it doesn't help him when he goes out there and has to do these robotic scripted promos. When he was a heel, it was a little bit better because, he could get some heat off of that. But even when he was a heel, I remember people chanting boring when he was cutting a promo because it was almost like the script writers are giving him the Triple H 15-minute promos where he goes out there and rants and raves, and it's just basically a Triple H promo delivered by Seth Rollins. And now they've done some damage to his character. When he was complaining and whining about Triple H and whining about Kevin Owens taking shortcuts, when that was the same exact thing Rollins was doing, it made him look very unsympathetic. And now, it's just the fact that he's out there and the promos do not feel organic and from the heart. So unless things change, I think they should really turn the guy heel. I think this babyface run has pretty much flopped, and I think you need to try something else with him. Got this one here from Braden. Why have some of the recent call-ups seemed overexposed on the main roster? A couple of things. Number one is in NXT. I did not watch the NXT shows. I mainly just watched the TakeOver shows, but, you know, the guys were not out there every single week wrestling and doing storylines. You know, you'd have a couple guys featured one week. It was only a 1 hour show, so there's only so much you can show. That's one thing. With a 3 hour Raw, you know, guys are naturally going to be more overexposed because you have more TV time to fill. And because of that, you're going to get a lot of segments that don't need to be as long as they end up being. The other thing is, you know, the idea of WWE trying to turn these guys into sports entertainers. In NXT, it's just about going out there and preparing them for the main roster and keeping things simple. And not trying to think too hard about what to do with these characters, just letting them go out there and do their thing. Now, WWE is trying to make these guys into sports entertainers and give them layers and have them cut 15-minute promos and all this stuff. And Nakamura's the artist now, as I mentioned earlier. And, you know, that could hurt these guys. But I think that part of the problem is just the fact that Raw's a 3 hour show. It's not as bad on SmackDown, but I think it's a combination of the length of the shows and also the guys trying to be molded into sports entertainers on the main roster, and that creates some sort of a backlash. But at the same time, Samoa Joe is doing great, you know. He's on the main roster, he's in high-profile matches, he's making big money. You know, it's hard to say they're dropping the ball with him. You know, I see some people saying, oh, they're ruining Joe already, you know. I think he's doing just fine. And a lot of these NXT call-ups, you know, Enzo and Cass are doing good, even though the stuff with Enzo, what the hell are they doing with the guy? You know, they're pretty much just making him to look like a total fool. But Enzo and Cass have had a solid year. And a lot of the NXT talents over the past year have done well. You know, Balor got hurt, but beyond that, he's doing very well for himself on the main roster. So I wouldn't necessarily say that these guys are being overexposed, but I can understand the perspective of why some people are frustrated. But I feel for the most part these guys are doing well. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you next time.